introduction.
Okay,
You one of those things that go.
there you go. Can you just tell me a little bit about Alex? You told me he was 23.
He's 23. He lives at home. He has an older sister who's 25. I have to think about that for a minute. 26, sorry. He has a dog.
He works at
and-
DSC.
Yep, Developmental Services Center. He works in their work shelter program.
Ooh.
And he's gone through normal school, was inclusion until high school, and then he graduated from high school, and then he was in a young adult program for another 3 years until he turned 22, I think it was. Yeah, and then he transitioned over. So that's his, and his disability, if you need to know that, is he's
Primary
autistic.
autism.
High function, yes.
High function.
High function.
High function.
Mhm.
Also has ADHD with oppositional features.
So does my Alex.
Yeah, I bet.
Okay. Does he have a special needs trust? Not yet.
We have a draft of one that we just need to review and go execute.
But we have attended seminars on them, at least one if not two, I think.
I saw Brian, what's his name, twice.
Right.
And I've been to one or two other ones, but they weren't as informative as his were.
Right.
So there were seminars.
Yes.
DSC has run a guy named Brian Rubin down from Chicago a couple of times, and he is a lawyer and accountant in Chicago that specializes in estate planning and special needs trust things for families with children with developmental disabilities. I think he has a child himself who had special needs, and he was a lawyer, and he decided, I'm going to make this my specialty.
Focus.
And I think that's pretty much 90% of their practice. Yeah, and then his other son has joined him as an attorney practicing.
Okay. So Alex's trust, what is it gonna do for him? I mean, in general, I don't, you know.
You answered that.
It's supposed to be a backup supply so that if you set it up properly, the funds there can cover needs, any kind of needs, living expenses, whatever is not covered by any kind of government programs like Social Security disability or anything of that nature. So as long as the trust is set up properly with the proper restrictions on how the money can be used, you can use it for anything he needs. Supplemental housing, supplemental transportation. You know, if he needed a specialized van or something, you could use the funds from that to get it. I think you can probably even use it to pay like an aid of some kind, as long as everything is set up properly and structured, and he's not exceeding certain amounts set by the government.
But I also, and maybe you've covered this, but it was, there's a certain level of disability income, and that the trust helps protect what's applied to that income level. At least that's what I understood, that as long as you have a trust that covers certain monies, then it doesn't apply toward the disability income. So that was another thing that we had looked into as well.
Right, so
Right.
it protects us. But, okay, so besides monetary, do you have any other stuff in there, like, you know,
Not as yet.
how you know?
No, like a guardian or something
Yeah.
in place.
Oh.
Our original wills designated guardians, but those are also about to be
Okay.
updated. I think right now it's probably still my parents, but it will most likely be Katie, his older sister, will be designated as the successor trustee after we're gone and as his primary guardian. But we did not establish a guardianship for him.
No.
So specifically, these are just monetary things that
Yeah.
you set up the trust?
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So is there anything that you know now that you wish you would have known when you're setting up the trust? So this question doesn't really work because,
We
We're
never
just
ever
getting it set up,
started, yeah.
right?
Yeah, I don't know. Unless, when we review it with them, he may bring up specific conditions that we didn't think about. But I haven't seen anything in the document itself that would have indicated that. And, our focus has been more the monetary than anything else. I don't really know what else the trusts cover.
Well, that's what the trust is going to be, an entity to hold money
Right.
for his use. It's not going to take care of what a guardian would do or.
right, well, they're starting these new things where a micro board where you form a group of people who are specifically there to help Alex and help him achieve what goals he wants. So I didn't know if you had anything like you have, this is what Alex wants to do, we want to make sure he can achieve what he wants and that kind of
Well,
stuff.
they kind of have that through Developmental Services Center. They have what they call it's centralized planning or individual planning. And once a year, they go through his goals and his objectives, living arrangements, those types of things. Now, he's on all kinds of waiting lists to be in like group homes or in apartment complexes, SILAs is what they call them. But, nothing's available as of yet. But in the planning, they have all that written out. So it is something that's monitored, and he has certain goals, and then especially in the workforce. And then every year we go through that together with them. So it's almost like an extension of school.
Right.
When you have the IEP,
Right.
individual education plan, you have kind of the same thing at Developmental Services Center. Because he is covered under a government-funded activity, so.
Okay. So we have the seminars. Okay, now, can any lawyer set up a special trust, or would you recommend a special?
Well, any
trust?
lawyer can, but I think you would be much better off to go to someone who has prior experience with them or concentrates on that. Because the problem is the trust has to make sure, you have to make sure it's in compliance with all of the IRS regulations. And those change all the time. Every time somebody in Congress thinks they have a bright idea, the regulations change, and if you don't keep up, you're gonna find that all this money you put there, they can have, but at the risk of losing Social Security benefits or Medicaid coverage or something like that. So, and the lawyer that we saw, Brian Rubin, not only do they set them up, but if you have someone else do one, they'll review it for you. And there are, I don't remember any of them, but he had like a top 10 list of the most common mistakes that lawyers make in drafting special needs trusts if they're not really immersed in it and don't stay current on the changing Internal Revenue Code and the requirements. I don't remember any of them. But the problem is if you don't comply with every detail, then you find out that the trust doesn't accomplish any of what you intended it to do.
So is there anything besides a special needs trust that would do the same thing? Or this is what we...
I think that's pretty much it. And if you have unlimited funds, you don't need to worry about it being a
Right.
special needs trust. You just put $10 million in a trust and make somebody that will be responsible, the trustee, and they pay all the bills and make sure they have their living needs covered, and an allowance for entertainment or spending depending on their level of independence. But if the primary purpose, as I understand it, of special needs is to make sure there's a backup funding mechanism that you can tap into for stuff that's not covered through the limited income that he can have without
Right.
screwing up Social Security or the other benefits of Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, disability.
And are there a lot of tax benefits from it as well? I don't know, I don't know. We have to ask Jen that.
Well, once the money's in there, it's not yours anymore.
Right.
So you're not paying any taxes on anything it generates.
Right, but when he spends it, does it then generate taxes off of that?
I don't remember.
It's a good question.
I would think it probably does. Well, not if he spends it, but if it's invested and it generates revenue every year, there's probably a tax. The trust will have to file a tax return, I'm sure.
And I think that's what I read.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think that everyone who has a child with a disability should have a special needs trust set up so that if any money is left to
Probably.
them,
I'll
they
tell you,
don't?
the one attorney that had spoken recommended it very highly because of all the benefits that it provides to a child with disabilities, or an adult for that matter. So, yes,
Because if there's money there that is for the benefit of the child, but it's not properly structured in a special needs trust, they have to spend that down before they qualify for any kind of Medicare, Medicaid, Social
Right.
Security, disability.
right.
So if there was a parent here who hadn't decided if they should get one, what would you tell them?
Go get one.
Well, no, I guess we would say go get one, and these are the reasons why, kind of the same thing that we outlined to you.
Right.
And, you know, that it was recommended to us very highly to do that, and that we
So
finally
if
acted
they're
on
a
it.
poor family and they're like, you know, I don't have anything to leave anyway, and, you know, I
Then
can't afford a
if there's no
lawyer.
asset to protect, it doesn't make any sense to spend any money to create a trust.
But I think they don't think about that they have a house and a car.
Life insurance
Right.
benefits,
Right.
maybe,
Right.
yeah. Yeah.
Well, and they probably think, well, I can't afford an attorney to do it, because it is kind of expensive. I mean, it's not a cheap thing to do. You're hiring an attorney and, you know, especially if they specialize in it, they probably have a higher value or rate
But they can
charge.
also probably crank it out, you know.